You are standing at a crossroads right now. Not a dramatic, life-changing moment you can feel in your bones, but a quiet, ordinary moment that looks exactly like every other day. And that is exactly what makes it so dangerous. Because the decisions you make in the next few months, the ones that feel small, the ones that feel like they can wait, the ones you keep telling yourself you will get to eventually, those are the decisions that will define where you are financially 5 years from now. Not the big dramatic ones, the quiet ones, the invisible ones, the ones you are probably not even thinking about as decisions at all. And I know that sounds like an exaggeration, but stay with me, because by the end of this video, I am going to show you the math, the psychology, and the actual mechanics behind why this is true, and more importantly, what you need to do about it starting today. Let me paint a picture of two people. Call them Alex and Jordan. Both are 28 years old. Both earn roughly the same salary, somewhere around $52,000 a year. Neither of them is in the top income bracket. Neither of them had a trust fund or a wealthy family backing them up. And both of them feel like they are doing okay, but not really getting ahead. Sound familiar? Now here is where they diverge. Alex decides this is the year things change. Not dramatically, not overnight, but systematically. Jordan decides that things are fine enough, that there is plenty of time, and that big financial decisions can wait until life is a little less hectic. 5 years later, Alex has a growing investment portfolio, an emergency fund that actually covers emergencies, and multiple income sources that create breathing room in daily life. Jordan is still in the same spot, maybe slightly worse because inflation kept moving while the savings account did not. Same starting point, different outcome. One decision made the difference. The uncomfortable truth I want to start with is this. Most people do not make conscious financial decisions at all. They drift. They respond to whatever is in front of them. The sale that popped up online, the restaurant everyone else is going to, the subscription that seemed worth it at the time. And drifting feels completely fine in the moment because there is no alarm, no warning signal, no notification that says you are slowly falling behind. The feedback loop on financial decisions is long and delayed, which means by the time you feel the consequences, you have been making the wrong choices for years. This is what behavioral economists call the present bias, and it is one of the most well-documented patterns in human decision-making. We consistently overvalue what is happening right now and undervalue what is coming in the future. $1 today feels more real than $5 5 years from now, even though mathematically, the math clearly favors the future. This is not a character flaw. It is a feature of how human brains were wired when our biggest concern was whether we would eat this week, not whether our retirement account was diversified. But understanding this bias is the first step to working around it. So let me break this down into the specific decision zones that will shape the next 5 years of your financial life. Because this is not about one giant choice. It is about a series of interconnected decisions that stack on top of each other in ways that either build momentum or erode it. The first decision zone is the one most people think they already have handled. Spending. Not whether to spend money, but how much attention and intention you bring to where it goes. Here is the thing. Most people have no idea what they actually spent last month. Not a rough idea, not a ballpark, actually no idea. And studies consistently show that when people finally sit down and track their spending with real precision, they find significant amounts of money going toward things they do not even particularly value. Convenience fees, forgotten subscriptions, impulse purchases that felt satisfying for about 48 hours. These things individually seem harmless. Together, they form a quiet drain that keeps you financially treading water no matter how much your salary grows. The exercise I want you to commit to is not a budget, at least not yet. It is a spending audit. For 30 days, Track every single dollar that leaves your account. Not to judge yourself, not to immediately cut things, just to see. Awareness is the foundation, because you cannot fix what you cannot see. And what most people discover during this process is that there is more money available to them than they thought. It was just invisible, distributed across dozens of small decisions they were making on autopilot. After the audit, you are going to categorize your spending into 3 groups. Things you genuinely need, things you genuinely enjoy and consciously choose, and things that just sort of happened without much thought. That third category is your opportunity, because that is money that is currently doing nothing for your future, and redirecting even a portion of it changes the math significantly. The second decision zone is one that feels intimidating to a lot of people, and that intimidation is exactly what costs them years. I am talking about investing, not stock picking, not complex trading strategies, not anything that requires you to become a financial expert. Just the basic foundational act of putting money into instruments that grow over time. Here is the concept that changes how people think about this. Every year you wait to invest, you are not just missing out on gains from that year. You are missing out on the compounding that would have happened on those gains in every subsequent year. This is not a small difference. The math on compounding is genuinely counterintuitive until you see it laid out clearly. Money invested early does not just grow, it accelerates in growth, because each year it is earning returns on a larger base that includes all the previous returns. The difference between starting at 25 versus starting at 35 is not 10 years of gains. It is often the difference between ending up with dramatically different financial outcomes, with the same monthly contribution doing completely different amounts of work depending on when it started. And here is the important part for people who feel like they need to learn everything before they start. You do not. The most effective starting strategy for most people is genuinely simple. A low-cost index fund that tracks broad market performance has historically outperformed the vast majority of actively managed funds over long periods. This is not a controversial statement in the finance world. The data on it is consistent and has been studied extensively. You do not need to pick winners. You need to participate consistently over time, reinvest your gains, and not panic when markets go through their inevitable rough patches. If your employer offers a retirement account with matching contributions, that is your first move. Contribute at least enough to capture the full match, because that is an immediate guaranteed return on your money before it even touches the market. After that, look into individual retirement accounts that offer tax advantages and keep your investment costs low. The goal is not perfection, the goal is participation, early and consistently. The third decision zone is one that the traditional financial conversation almost completely ignores: income diversification. Here is a simple truth that has significant consequences. If you have exactly one income source, your financial security is only as stable as that one source. One layoff, one health crisis, one industry disruption, and everything is suddenly at risk. The people who navigate these events without their lives falling apart are almost universally the ones who had built additional income streams before they needed them. Now I want to be clear about what I am not saying. I am not saying you need to become an entrepreneur, quit your job, or work yourself into exhaustion building a side business. What I am saying is that developing one additional income source, something that generates even a few $100s a month from skills or assets you already have, creates a financial buffer that changes how you make decisions across the board. When you are not completely dependent on a single paycheck, you make choices from a place of stability rather than desperation. That shift alone is worth more than the extra income itself. The practical path here is to start with what you already know. What do you do well that other people need? What knowledge have you accumulated that has value to someone else? Freelance skills, tutoring, consulting, content creation, digital services, these are all real pathways that require very little upfront investment, and can be built gradually over time. The first month is about exploration. The second month is about identifying what has traction. By the third month, you should have a clear sense of what to double down on. And here is the critical piece that most people miss when they do start earning additional income. Do not let it quietly disappear into lifestyle inflation. Make a committed decision that your secondary income goes directly toward building your financial foundation, investments, paying down high-interest debt, and building savings. That discipline is what makes the difference between earning more money and actually getting ahead. The fourth decision zone is the one that operates mostly beneath our conscious awareness, your financial environment. This includes the people around you, the content you consume, the conversations you have regularly about money and success. Research on behavior change consistently shows that environment is more powerful than willpower. If every person you spend significant time with is oriented around spending, keeping up appearances, and treating financial planning as something for later, that pressure is constant and cumulative. It does not feel like pressure because it just feels like normal life. But it is shaping your decisions every single day. This does not mean you need to abandon your friends or become insufferable at social gatherings. What it means is that you should be deliberate about adding people and communities to your life who are further along the path you want to be on. People who talk about investing the way others talk about sports. People who celebrate financial milestones. People who challenge you to think differently about money. These interactions recalibrate your default settings over time, and the effect is gradual but significant. The fifth decision zone is one that most people treat as optional: financial education. And I understand why. It feels like homework. It feels like something you will get to when things calm down. But the financial landscape genuinely changes over time. Tax laws shift. New instruments and opportunities emerge. And the cost of not knowing things in the financial world is real and measurable. People with higher financial literacy consistently end up in better financial positions, not just because they know more, but because they can spot good opportunities and avoid expensive mistakes. The approach I recommend is simple and sustainable. About 20 to 30 minutes a week dedicated to learning one specific financial concept. Not an overwhelming curriculum, just one topic at a time. How different types of debt work and which ones are worth taking on strategically. How tax strategies can legally reduce what you owe. How to evaluate investments beyond just looking at recent performance. How to read the basic numbers that tell you whether a financial decision makes sense. Over a year, this accumulates into a genuinely comprehensive understanding that pays dividends in every financial decision you make. Now, I want to bring all of these decision zones together and talk about the structure that makes them actually work. Because knowing what to do is only part of the challenge. The harder part is building a system that keeps you doing it consistently when motivation fades, when life gets complicated, when an unexpected expense hits and the whole plan feels like it is falling apart. The structure I want you to build around is 90-day cycles. Not annual goals, not vague long-term ambitions. 90 days. Here is why this works. 12 months is too long to stay focused. The goal feels distant, life changes, and most people abandon their financial resolutions sometime around February. But 90 days is a window you can actually see across. It is long enough to create meaningful progress and short enough to adjust course when something is not working. At the start of each 90-day period, you answer 3 questions with real specificity. What is one concrete financial milestone you will hit by the end of this cycle? What is one spending pattern you will change to create more room in your budget? And what is one income-generating action you will take this quarter? Then, at the end of the 90 days, you review honestly. Hit the target? Great, raise the bar. Missed it? Look at exactly where the gap was and adjust the approach, not the commitment. Over 5 years, you will run approximately 20 of these cycles, 20 opportunities to course correct, improve, and build on what is working. The compounding effect of this is not just financial, It is psychological. You develop a completely different relationship with your money and your future over time because you are no longer drifting. You are operating with intention, and the evidence of that intention shows up in your account statements every single quarter. Let me talk about the 5-year picture, because that is what this video is really about. Not what you do this week, the cumulative shape of the next 60 months. In the first year, the work is mostly invisible. You are building habits, establishing systems, running your first few 90-day cycles. The financial gains are real but not dramatic. This is also the phase where most people give up because they expect to feel rich, and instead, they just feel disciplined. Stay in it. The foundation matters more than the early numbers. In the second year, momentum starts to build. Your investments have been compounding. Your side income is more established. Your spending is more intentional. And crucially, you have data. You know what works for you specifically, and you can optimize around it. The decisions you make in year 2 are better than the ones you made in year 1 because you have real information now. By year 3, something shifts. It is not just the numbers. It is your orientation toward financial decisions. Things that used to feel urgent and stressful start to feel manageable because you have buffers. You have options. You have the psychological security that comes from knowing your financial situation is moving in the right direction. That security changes how you show up everywhere, in your career, in your relationships, in how you handle unexpected challenges. Years 4 and 5 are where the early investments really start to demonstrate what compounding actually looks like at scale. And more importantly, you have built systems and skills and habits that do not require constant willpower to maintain. They are just how you operate now. The financial version of yourself in year 5 looks fundamentally different from the one who started the journey, and the gap between those two people was built entirely out of decisions that happened in ordinary moments that did not feel significant at the time. Here is the closing thought I want to leave you with. The title of this video is not hyperbole. This money decision, the decision to be intentional and systematic and consistent about how you handle your financial life starting right now, genuinely will define the next 5 years. Not because money is the most important thing, but because financial stress and financial freedom are not neutral. They shape everything else. Your health, your relationships, your options, your ability to take risks on things that matter to you. The people who look back at a financial turning point and say, that was when everything changed, they almost never point to a single dramatic event. They point to a period when they decided to stop drifting and start building, when they started paying attention to where the money was actually going, when they committed to the boring, consistent, unglamorous work of investing before it felt necessary, when they stopped treating financial education as optional and started treating it as fundamental. That moment can be right now. It does not require a perfect situation or a specific income level or any particular knowledge you do not already have. It just requires one first step taken seriously, followed by another, inside a system that keeps you accountable over time. Start with the spending audit. Do it for 30 days. See clearly what you are working with, then build from there. Open the investment account. Run your first 90-day cycle. Find the one skill or resource that could generate additional income. Add one financial concept to your understanding every single week. Do these things consistently, and the next 5 years will look different. Genuinely, measurably, unmistakably different. The only version of this that does not work is the one where you watch the video, think that was interesting, and then go back to doing exactly what you were doing before. That version leads to Jordan's outcome, 5 years from now, in the exact same spot, wondering why things are not moving. You now have the map. The question is simply whether you are going to use it. If you found value today, I highly recommend watching the video on the screen. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Also, feel free to leave your comment below, especially if this video made you think differently. I appreciate your support more than you know. See you in the next video.